Andre Kachaturian with Tom Kitchen in this episode of the Nessun MMA podcast. And Tom, big fight this week that changes at UFC Hamburg, changes a lot of stuff with regards to Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Actually, I think a lot.
It changes it, but I guess, I don't know. I think maybe it doesn't, because I didn't think he was actually going to fight Shogun anyway.
He said he wanted to, though.
I know.
Daniel Cormier came out and said he wanted to fight Shogun Rua if he had a good performance against Anthony Smith at UFC Hamburg.
He did say that.
Shogun Rua did not have a good performance.
He did not have a good performance.
Smith. And here we are now. Daniel Cormier, who said he has a hard retirement date of March 20, which is when he turns 40. He doesn't want to fight.
Yes, which is, you're skeptic. You're skeptical about.
I will get to that in a second. But Cormier said he does not want to fight past 40.
A few times he said
and
that.
he also said he only wants money fights.
He has said that.
John Jones is still suspended. We don't know where he's going to go.
So you're saying which one weighs more, the
It's
deadline or the money
factors
fight?
here, and he wants 2 fights in before he turns 40.
Yep, he has said that.
He wants money fights. He
Yeah.
wants to fight Brock Lesnar, but he can't fight until January.
No, he can't. If at all. If he can make it to January.
Right, exactly. So I think something's got to give here. I think Cormier does want a big money fight. I think still wants to fight twice.
Before Brock, you mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he really wanted to defend that light heavyweight title. But now,
Yeah.
Alexander Gustafsson was an option. But here's what happened this week. Daniel Cormier responding to Alexander Gustafsson pulling out of UFC 227 because of a minor injury.
Yep.
Look at this. Read this. Imagine someone wrote this to you, Tom.
It's brutal.
He wrote, "Dear Alex, I don't know what happened to you going back to the Rockhold situation. You've always been a stand-up guy, but your behavior changed. From calling a guy out the day after he got knocked out to now offering to fight me knowing I have a broken hand after Volkan Oezdemir couldn't go." And he goes on to say, "Man, I respect you as a fighter. I will always be grateful for October 2015 when the two fought.
Of course, great fight.
Great fight. But you and I won't share the octagon again. I'm disappointed in who you've become.
There it is.
You are so entitled, man. I can't deal with delusional people. Good luck recovering, but our time has passed.
Yeah.
See you from the commentary table, DC."
DC just really solidifying the moniker of daddest man on the planet with that
literally.
disappointed.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
disappointed, entitled, delusional.
Yeah. And what's crazy, he's not wrong. He's not wrong about it, right? Like Gus is a great fighter when he fights.
So what's going to happen now? I don't want to talk about Alexander Gustafsson. I want to find out what the GOAT is going to do next. Because I think what might happen now is you got to throw Stipe Miocic in the picture again.
It becomes an option now. I didn't think it was an option before because DC said that he was adamant that he wanted to defend the light heavyweight title. But like, I don't know. I didn't think he was going to fight Shogun, even if Shogun won.
Okay, same here.
Shogun's a legend of the sport, but I think, and DC cares about his legacy. I don't think that does anything for his legacy. In fact, I think that hurts his legacy.
Yes.
To beat up
an old guy that Anthony Smith just beat up.
Which, by the way, Anthony Smith, my goodness.
He's not going to fight Anthony Smith.
My goodness. I want him to fight Anthony Smith.
No.
But I agree, he's not going to fight Anthony Smith. I think, like we talked about earlier, I think the options are Brock.
Anthony Smith wasn't even ranked prior to this.
No. This is only his second fight at light heavyweight. He's been a middleweight.
He doesn't want to fight Curtis Blades.
Cormier?
He said when asked about.
I get that. Yeah, he asked him that.
Isn't my. He wants money. He wants to make money. He has every right to do that.
He's earned it.
If he had won that fight against Derek Lewis, that would have been amazing.
That could have been one. Yeah.
But
I don't know what to do with either of those guys, Ngannou or Derek Lewis after that fight.
Seriously.
You got to kind of forget that fight ever happened and try to match him up somewhere else.
Well, if I'm Derek Lewis, I'm trying to schedule a fight against
as soon as
Stipe.
possible. Oh, yeah. That's an interesting one.
And if I'm Derek Lewis and I beat Stipe convincingly, then you have wins over Miocic and Francis Ngannou under your belt.
At the top of the division.
And you target Cormier.
You got to claim.
Yeah.
I don't think Black Beast wants to fight Stipe. At this point.
He has to.
At this point, though.
He has to.
Stipe will...
Black Beast needs to take any fight right now.
But he needs a fight where he's going to look good.
He wants people to make. He wants to make people forget that Ngannou fight and only look at the Wikipedia page and say,
of course.
Francis Ngannou. Oh, it was a
by
W.
decision.
I don't remember how it happened. Yeah, I'm sure it was a good fight.
Could have been a back and forth slugfest. No, I know what you mean. But I just think Stipe's too much for him right now with too little return. You know what I mean? Because right now he's not a champ. He's got nothing if he beats him.
He's still Stipe.
He is still Stipe, which means he's still one of the baddest men on the planet, and that's not an easy fight.
That fight.
Stipe shouldn't take that fight.
No, he wants.
Stipe should only fight for the title.
So what's your prediction, Cormier? I think we'll have Cormier and Miocic before the end of this year in the rematch. The rematch Stipe deserves.
Before this
win or
weekend,
lose, we'll have a DC versus Brock Lesnar. See you later.
Oof. Yeah, sunset fight.
Yeah, sunset fight.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to generate money no matter what.
Huge payday for everybody, and like you said earlier, DC deserves it.
But if Miocic beats DC, then you have a trilogy fight, right?
You gotta. And then Brock just fails a drug test and disappears, and we forget about this whole couple.
Don't you think it means more for DC's legacy to just beat Stipe twice?
Oh, for sure. Legacy, absolutely. But I think, and it sucks, but no matter what he does, until he fights and beats John Jones, he could beat Stipe 10 times in a row. And people are always going to bring up John Jones.
They will, but I like what he said at this post-fight press conference. What DC said, he pointed to his heavyweight belt. He said, you could say whatever you want about the light heavyweight belt.
For sure.
But this is something that has separate from John Jones.
Totally detached.
This is he beat the greatest.
And I'm so happy for him because DC is such a good guy.
Yes.
Does all the right things, works hard, says all the right things.
Yeah.
He's always a company man. He mudslinged a little bit with Jones because he brought it out of him because he just really doesn't like that guy. But for the most part, respectful of his opponents, just everything you want from a champion. And he got it, and he earned it. He didn't have to do any. He had no attachment to Jones, like you said.
And I kind of believe him when he says he doesn't need Jones to establish his legacy anymore. But if for whatever reason Jones is ready to fight by next summer, and if I'm Daniel Cormier, and I've only had to
jumping on it.
Just
you mean after he retires?
Extend your retirement. This is what I was getting back to earlier. It's like, I don't really believe the 40-year-old thing. If Jones is ready to fight next summer.
Retirements in the fight business are just, they don't mean anything, right? Like, how many fighters across all sports?
Remember Conor McGregor retired briefly?
He did, that's right. Thanks for the cheese. And then immediately came back. But even throughout history, boxing, wrestling, MMA, all this stuff, guys don't stay retired. They take breaks. Yeah. And their body starts to feel a little better, and they're like, oh, I still got this.
Yeah.
So,
and clearly Cormier still got this.
Oh, my God. That knockout of Stipe, whew, I don't think anybody saw it. No one saw that coming.
And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens down the road. But Tom, this was a pleasure talking to you about this.
Yeah, of course.
This later on this week, you should come back again. I really want to preview this UFC Calgary card with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Great night of fighting, so stay tuned, folks. We'll come back with that on the Nesson MMA podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Of course.
Being here, Tom Kitchen, our resident UFC expert / web developer.